At the end of 2006, Sydney Alvey had everything in the world going for her. She was a popular senior at Eminence Independent High School, vibrant and full of energy. The future loomed brightly ahead, and in an instant, it looked to be gone.
To put yourself in the place of, you have a 17-year-old daughter who had everything going for her. Everything. Straight A's, colleges looking at her, happy cheerleader, boyfriend, good job. In a minute, that was all taken away. Everything.
It was Christmas Day. Sydney was driving to share the holidays with children she babysat when the call came.
When we received the call, the only information he knew was that they were trying to extract her from the vehicle and that they had called for stat flight to come and get her.
It wasn't until several days later that the severity of her injuries became clear.
Her face was beautiful. She didn't have one mark on her face, but she wouldn't wake up.
The doctors explained Sydney's brain had shifted in the accident and that her outlook was very poor. They suggested several nursing homes for the family to consider.
We went into a mode that we were not going to accept that as a diagnosis. And luckily, we had friends at Frazier and some history with Frazier that we knew the miracle stories that could happen there.
So after 22 days in a totally comatose state, Sydney was transferred to Frazier Rehab.
When we moved to Frazier, I remember the very first day that the therapist came in and said, does she have tennis shoes? We need some tennis shoes and some clothes. And immediately I'm thinking, you know, this child has laid and has not had a movement in 22 days and we're looking for tennis shoes.
The Frazier staff explained they would go through every daily activity with her, whether Sydney could help or not. Very slowly, Sydney began to help.
I had to relearn how to write and to have this conversation. I had to relearn how to do all of that. And then with PT, I had to relearn how to walk. I do every daily activity that you probably really don't even think of, like brush your teeth, brush your hair, everything. They had to tell me for days that something did. I would ask all the time, Mom, why do I have to go to rehab? Sydney, you should have to go through this story. Sydney, you were in a really bad car accident.
The milestones came along the way, albeit slowly. Some 51 days after the accident, with assistance, Sydney took her first steps. At day 58, still unable to communicate, she was voted homecoming queen at Eminence High. At day 63, her first words came, ones that Lori thought she might never hear again. I love you, Mom. And on day 86, with well-wishers lining the road, Sydney Alvey came home. After 10 months of outpatient therapy, Sydney is attending classes at Jefferson Community College, pursuing her degree in social work. She volunteers to work with first-grade students in her community, as children have always been a passion of hers. And perhaps most tellingly, Sydney now volunteers at Jewish Hospital Shelbyville, helping patients who face their own struggles.
I mean, I can do everything, or close to everything I used to do. Now I can do it by myself.
The passion is really there in every doctor we encountered, in every lab tech, in every aide, and every therapist, that there is no way without one of those people missing from the piece we could have gotten the recovery that we did.